and welcome to Material Mondays. How are you doing? Thank you for joining me. So I've had a little bit of a, it's not a clear out, but a kind of move around of some of my fabrics, and you can see in the corner I've got some of them here, I've got some of them in place, and it's amazing how you can get a whole new set of shelving and then fill it with the things that you wanted to put there and still find, like, you know, I was assuming that where these came from I would have all of this space, and it's just like it's been filled with something else. It's just like, anyway, so today I am looking at a new piece of art that I want to work on. It's an unfinished piece, and for those of you who are not familiar with Material Mondays, basically what I do is I share some of the pieces that I'm working on, and if there are techniques that I can show you, then I'll try and do that as well. But really just kind of looking at some of the pieces and seeing what the thought process is behind it, where it can potentially go, and some of the things that you can put in there as well. So I've got loads of pieces that I've worked on at different stages, and I find I like working on more than one thing at a time, or I come to a piece and I think, well, what am I feeling today? What am I feeling like working with? Am I feeling like just doing slow stitching, or do I want to do some more detailed work and work with beads and look through all the beads and find some of the selections? I've got some beads over there as well, but they're all nice activities within themselves, so I like to kind of break down some of the tasks and see what I feel like doing at that particular moment. So if it's beads, then I'm looking at colours, seeing the matches, and even being surprised that, oh, I forgot I had that. So let me show you two potential pieces that I'm thinking of working on. So I'm just trying to get enough space. I was looking at this one. Now this is sort of like 24, let me just measure it. I'm not sure how, 10, 20, yeah, about 24 inches by, I think that's probably 16, I think. Let me see. 18. So this is 24 by 18. This piece, and I've already done quite a bit of beading, so I probably won't be doing much beading, but I want to do some stitching with these outer pieces. I haven't yet got the border or a backing fabric that I want to put on it, but I want to just go around with some fine fine stitching, and also consider what I want to, what border I want to use. So I will be doing slow stitching around this and then thinking about the border. So I was thinking about this one and thinking, oh, you know, yeah, that one's nearly finished. I can get into it by doing some small stitches, and the colours, I've got it's a mushroom cotton that I like using, especially with this particular fabric as well, and just incorporating some stitches and maybe looking at some of the colours on here and bringing some of the stitching out. So these were made as small panels, they're all small panels and then added together. So that's that one. So I was considering that, and then the other one which I'm considering, because I was feeling it, orange, was this one. So this will probably be a couple of weeks project. I want to bring in maybe some additional colours. I've already got a backing fabric. I wanted to use this, and then I've got the border that I wanted to use, which is in the same fabric. but I wanted to incorporate some beads, and I found some beads that I really like. So I'm thinking this one is winning hands down, and that may be the next project, depending on... Yeah, so let's kind of look at this and look at some of the beads that I've got, and I'll see how I'm inspired to work on it. Okay, so here we have it. I have used quite a few different types of stitches. Well, just ordinary like straight stitch, and then just done different patterns. The piece has been, we've got some elements of painted fabric here, these 3 circles, sitting on a hand-dyed piece of fabric, so this middle section, and then I added these 3 pieces. I might need to, I'm thinking of, whilst I was thinking of maybe necessarily not stitching, I'm maybe thinking of doing the round in here and maybe in these areas. It's puckering a little bit because we've got several different types of fabric, but I think once all the stitches have been added, these will go. Once I've added all the stitches, I wasn't going to do any more stitches, but I was going to add the beading, and we'll look at the beading in a minute. Then it's surrounded by a wax resist piece, so this has been wax resist and dyed, this piece, and then I've just done, you know, some stitching there. I spilt over with some of the stitching on the outside, and I'm thinking on this panel here, and I'm thinking I might continue to do that. It's funny how you sit with a piece and you start to get inspired to do additional things, because when I took it out I was like, okay, so there's not much to do here, but I'm thinking of adding some more stitching. We've got some French knots around each of the circles. These 2 I've got, so maybe I hadn't finished here. Yeah, so I'm thinking, yeah, maybe just add some more, a bit more stitching. I want some of the orange to spill over a bit more onto the outside here. We've got our borders, so I've got these bits for the borders that would go, say, around here. I want there to be as much, I want you to be able to see the brown, so I'll have to position it, so I'm going to need to iron it and just position it. Okay, that's that, and as I say, it's sitting on, this is going to be the backing fabric. It goes that way, like so. Nice orange there. So let's look at the beads. Should we look at the beads first, or we'll look at the threads that I've been using? The threads that I've been using here is embroidery thread, and then I found this. This is actually crochet, for crochet, you know, those fine things, but I found it's actually quite nice just using a single strand in these pieces. It's not quite as vibrant as the orange I had there. I was looking for this, but I couldn't find it anywhere in terms of this particular colour. But it would be nice to have like maybe a contrast in pockets. So like if I'm doing here, it will all be this colour. I'll have to double check to see whether I've got any more orange. And then I've got this pale kind of mushroomy colour that I have used around the edge here, so I might bring that in as well. I might bring it in to create an additional pattern along here. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see, and then cut off the excess. So the job at hand is to add some more stitching to the main bit and to the border, do the backing and the border, the external border. And now let's look at some of the beads. So let me just put it on here. Is it clearer? We'll just come in. So these are the beads that I'm considering. Actually, we'll need the piece, won't we? You'll need to be able to see. So similar oranges. I've got this small one. Actually, just looking for my tweezers. So we've got these. They're not working as they should. So I've got these. Yeah, let's come in. Okay. Yeah, give you a good look. Okay, so we've got these ones I like, and these are all that I have. And I'll probably need to just, yeah, pull out some of the other boxes of beads and see what I've got. I've got some small, they're kind of orangey colour. So they might actually go, depending on where they're placed. It'd be nice to get a, just put them here. Yeah, so it's a nice orange, and then I've got some these bigger beads here. And I can find maybe in a different part, but they would look nice. I've got quite a few of those. So I can experiment and play. And then I've got some, they're like crystals, but they're small and they've had holes put in them. So I can maybe put some of those on. And then I've got, you know, wooden beads, kind of shades of, I can incorporate some of the darker beads, the brown beads. I've got the bugle beads here. I can maybe think about putting some of these on, putting them around the edge. That might be okay. So it's something to think about. So this is, so after you start getting, like, you know, finding beads on the floor, this artist gave me such a joke, because she was just like, I think it was a pet. She was talking about her beads, and you know, you always lose some and they go on the floor, and that, you know, it's very hard to then walk barefoot in your studio because of all these beads on the floor. But so that's the thinking for this piece, and I don't want this particular episode to be longer than it needs to be, so we'll sit with the thinking about the stitching. I've even got some red in here. But thinking about the stitching, adding more to it. I'm going to neaten this up a bit, all these frayed bits, and then I will start. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to sharing more of this. I will give you can see a bit closer. I think I've got a video, I'll see if I can link it, to how this first started. So you'll see some of this being put together. I think one of the very early ones, and then I just kind of left it. But I'm feeling more and more, it's just like, it's almost like, you know, you get them to a particular stage and then you walk off as if, you know, if you finish it, I don't know what you'd feel if you finish it. It's just like, if it's unfinished, then it's like, you know, I don't know, there's like an issue around that. there may be a small issue around that, but we're getting there. And yeah, with Material Mondays, I'm able to do that. So let me think. So as I was saying earlier, some of the elements on here are, if you sew anyway, then you can, you know all the different stitches you can use, and there are some other more decorative stitches. I just used straight straight stitches, but then use it with different threads, or I might use it in a pattern, stagger them. So I think the straight stitch and the French knot are probably the ones that I use the most. I don't like, do a leaf stitch or any herringbone stitch, or, there are so many different stitches. Over 100. 50 of them I have tried myself. I'll try and leave the link to that as well. But some of the painting on fabric. So one thing that I would suggest that you do is if you're going to incorporate fabric, it's to apply gesso first, so that the fabric doesn't absorb all of the paint. And so the gesso provides like a seal, and then you can use whatever paint you want. Acrylic paint will harden in some places, so if you've got fabric paint, it maintains its softness. And what are the other things? Maybe think about painting it first, then adding it to projects, and you can stitch on them. So these were easy to stitch on because I'd used fabric paint, or these were dyed, so it still maintains its flexibility. And then just to have fun, just to keep keep adding and walking away. There's nothing wrong with walking away and coming back and seeing what's inspiring you at that moment. So I think it's important just to allow yourself to play and just take your time. I've used some brads on the outside. They're metal, so I might have to move them. We'll see. I might move them. I'm not feeling them now, so but that's it. Yeah, so those are the things that I'm going to do. So I'm hoping that inspires you. So I'm going to come back next week with it at a more advanced stage, and we will do some stitching then. And if you've got any questions, please do leave it in the comments. If you're not yet subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel, and you'll be notified every time I put out a video. But yeah, definitely have fun. You don't have to make the pieces, terribly large. You can make them smaller, do some little pieces and work on them, as opposed to, starting a big piece. And like most of my, this is the other one, so most of my pieces, they're in panels. So this is a small piece. This is one piece. This is one piece, but I've then brought them together and I've embellished them each, with their beading. So they really don't need more beading, but I want to add the stitching around the border. I'm feeling like heavy pattern of stitching around the edges, but and I think I'm looking forward to it. I'm feeling this one. I like where it is now. I like all of the detail, all of the paint. See, all of these have been painted individually, bits added, collage, almost like a collage. Just add in bits where you feel inspired, and bringing them all together as one. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it there for now, and I hope that has encouraged you to start working on your own pieces, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care for now.